Welcome everyone to One Business Connection Tech Fridays in combination with Total Speed Internet. My name is Jay Leber. My company is Total Speed. And we do this every Friday at 9 Mountain Time, each week with a different topic. And today's topic is going to be task lists and note takers. In particular, I'm going to talk about Google Keep, Google Tasks, Microsoft To-Dos, and Microsoft OneNote. So, before I start, let's get an idea of what people's backgrounds are. Have you used these programs? Are you familiar with them? If not, that's great. I can start from scratch.
So,
Juanita, are you
so
do you
Jay,
use
you
these?
said Google Chat.
No, Google Keep and Google Tasks, Microsoft OneNote, and what was the other one? Microsoft To-Dos.
Here's my checklist.
That's your checklist? Okay. Well, that works too. You know, there was a program I
I've
came
used
across once
I've
that I
used
thought was a great idea where you write your to-dos like you do on paper, and then you take a picture of your to-do list on paper. And then what it does is it doesn't try to interpret it or anything. It just shows you the picture that you took, but it gives you tools to be able to cross out.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like taking what you're going to do on paper and putting it on the screen, but without having to do any kind of
yeah,
translation or
that's
any.
that's doubling your effort though. I mean, if I just take the
Well,
paper and cross
if
it
you're the
off,
kind of no, I thought it was great because I tend to do paper notes like you do, and
yeah,
then I tend to type them in. But this way, I didn't have to type them in. I could just snap, 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 throw out all the notes, and
gotcha.
everything was ready for me to check off. Thought it was
Hmm.
clever. But these programs don't do that.
Uh-oh, do we lose him? Jay, we lost you. Total
yeah,
speed's gone.
yeah.
Uh-oh, he dropped off. Wow. No, he didn't.
He's coming back.
He's got his picture up there anyway.
That
Total
that is
speed, come in. NASA to
it
total
turned off my
speed.
video. That's weird. It turned off my video. I've never seen it do that before.
You froze first.
You know, it was weird. I saw myself frozen and you were all moving.
Yeah, that's what
Usually when
happened.
you freeze, you see yourself moving and everyone else is stopped. But this time it worked in reverse. Okay, well, let's hopefully that won't happen again and that the Xfinity gods are going to keep my connection active. Okay, so again, don't forget to put your info in the chat. That's the best way for us all to be in touch with each other. If anybody needs the chat, just pop me a note in the chat and I will save it and send it to you. Because if you're on a mobile phone, you can't save the chat. So I offer to do that for people that can't do it. And let's do brief introductions and then I'll get to my topic today. Let's see. Why don't we start with you, George? We've already touched a little bit on what you do, but why don't you tell us more?
I'm simple in Atlanta, and I'm helping Gen Z build financial future from struggling, paycheck to paycheck to financial wealth, and invented a tool that guides them through that to get there.
That's it?
Yep,
Okay. Well, who are good referrals for you? Who's your target market?
Gen Zs. Anybody,
Any Gen Z? That's
any
it?
Gen Z that wants Gen Zs are right out of college, they're computer literate, and they all want to retire before 30.
So did I when I was their age. But nothing more specific like startups or
Nope,
people in
just
a particular industry.
Nope, just Gen Zs or anybody. It could go to anybody that's struggling with money and doesn't know how to get to financial wealth. We invent a system that anybody can do.
Okay, and what's the best way for them to contact you? To set up a meeting or
Yeah,
what's your
they
intake?
can go. Yeah, as I say, I'm George and I want to make you a millionaire. So it's millionairesbygeorge.com, and it explains and they can book a call right on there.
Let's see. I think I see it. Yeah. George Ishii, G Ishii at millionairesbygeorge.com. So they can also go to the website and find out more about what you do.
Yeah. We have a 30-day experiment that rescripts their brain to open up so they can go get past the roadblocks of money.
Cool. I think I need to set up a one-on-one with you, George. I don't know if we've done that before, but I think we should. I'm not a startup. I'm not a Gen Z, but that's okay. Okay. Thank you, George. And why don't we go to Don? Don, do you know anything about mortgages? I'm not sure if there you go. Well, Don unmuted, but I don't hear him. Does anyone else hear him? Don, we're not getting your
No,
there we go.
there we go.
Ah,
Bring the boom down. It all makes a difference. Yeah, I've been in the mortgage business for 30 years and been doing reverse mortgages for the last 15. That's what we're focused on these days is reverse mortgages for people 55 and older. When people get tired of making the mortgage payments, give me a call, or if they need to turn some of the equity in their house into cash, that's the other use for reverse mortgages. Comes out as monthly payments, as a line of credit, or as a lump sum, and rules vary on different products. And I do seminars on those, and probably need to put the seminars on the webpage sometime, but have not yet. I'm working on that.
that's a good idea. Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Don. Let's go to Juanita. Juanita, I'm noticing that in what I'm reading about what you've written before that you support medical providers, and it sounds
Yes.
like you help them recover money. Is that what you
Yes.
do? Like when
I
patients
do.
owe them?
I help them go from revenue confusion to revenue clarity and control. A lot of times you have billers within a practice or a third party biller who are just transactional. They don't really look into the details. So when an insurance claim is paid, it comes with some remittance advice as to what you did right, what you did wrong, and what they're going to pay for and what they're not. And many times, billers just click, okay, it is what it is. And if they didn't get paid, it ain't my fault. Right. And they don't do any research and digging to see why that claim wasn't, why it was denied, essentially. So I do live in Virginia. I support healthcare practices nationwide. Again, my background is in engineering, structured type things. So I approach this the same way. You know, you got to have an input and an output. You got to have a status and a metric. You got to have a feedback loop, as well as, an audit trail. So what I do is I come in and I try to help that practice understand, why is revenue leaking? They're seeing all the right patients, but they don't see the money flowing in. So we reduce denials, we increase their revenue flow, cash flow, and we get them paid quicker because we want to make sure that everything is done right the first time versus rework. The people that I like to work with are referrals. Anyone who works with a healthcare provider and know that their business is struggling and can see it. A lot of times they are CFOs, bookkeepers, CPAs. Um, I've even had Mary Kay people, so it's not strictly those folks. But when they see a practice or talking to a medical provider, owner, administrator, and they're saying, "Hey, we're just struggling." I have people call me all the time, and they're like, "Well, um, my patients owe me $40,000. I'm working with a clinician right now where her patients owe her, $30,000 over the last since 2022 and 2023. She just wasn't taking her co-payments. And I'm like, how do you not be taking co-payments? So it's just little things that, especially with, I support a lot of physical therapists, mental health or medicine management, chiropractors, um, dentists. So anyone in eye care, eye vision, family practice. Many times when you have a very small practice, you have one professional trying to do it all, and we try to get them to do what they went to school for, and that's patient care. And then we try to help them align their revenue to flow from workflow to workflow and handoff to handoff so they can get paid.
So if I can ask you, Anita, um, so do you come into a medical office, assess what they're doing, straighten everything out, show them how to do it, and then disappear? Or do you work with them continually month after month and go over everything with them and so forth
It's
and do it all?
it depends. It depends on what they need. Sometimes if they have an in-house billing team, I will come in and help them with, as a or a practice manager. I will come in, help them with their workflow, and then teach them how to communicate. And then I would go. I've been in situations where I
Now
helped
you
that.
say come in. That kind of implies in person, but you
Yeah,
mentioned you can take people from anywhere.
yeah. So basically, I'm in their EHR system, their electronic health records, and their practice management system, and I'm looking in the background, and then I'm looking at their workflow. So, for instance, one patient for physical therapy, I do that too, had owed the clinic or the practice $42,000. How does one individual, get a bill of 42,000? You know why? Because the biller is billing and not talk to the front office. The front office is just not looking because nothing is being signaled to the front office that, hey, you need to take some money from this person. And by the
So
time
what
they
do they
figure,
do? They just keep treating these people and running up the bill, and they never say, "Wait a minute, you owe us $40,000 before we treat this. We need some cash." No, they
in
just let it go.
many cases, they again, that's why I talk about it's the revenue is not the problem, it's the visibility. They're not looking at the right reports and metrics, KPIs. So those are the things I bring to practice where I'm going to look at, you know, why does this person owe that much money? I'm getting collections or money from individuals who've been away from practices for 2 or 3 years. Sometimes they still have a credit card on file. I still send them a statement, still talk to them, still want them to understand because you don't want them to have a sour
So,
taste.
so is it the individual patients that aren't paying, or is it the insurance companies that aren't paying?
So it can be both. The patients, if you don't signal someone to pay a copay, well, they're not going to just offer. Many times they do not offer, hey, I got a $25 copay or a $79. Some of it is the insurance plan that they have. It's called co-insurance, where they have to cover a certain percentage of the
So the
claim.
insurance companies are paying. It's the co-pays from the patients. That's what's
Co-insurance,
not
deductibles,
coming.
all that stuff, right? They got a plan that doesn't say they have a co-payment, but hey, I've seen where they have deductibles of up to $5,000. And what does that mean? The insurance company is not going to pay until you have reached your limit of $5,000. So if you have
Do they at least check a patient when a patient comes in for an appointment to see if they owe before they start adding on more and say,
so what's
wait, we
happening?
can't treat you. You owe this much?
So let's say a patient has a deductible and what they're being treated for is $150. And the biller sends the bill to the insurance company. And this happened to me this morning. The insurance company says, hey, this person owes for everything, or this person is not covered. Either way, the biller is just going to say, oh, well, they're not covered. And so technically, the biller should be going back to the patient or updating the patient side to say, hey, you owe this for some amount of money. And then the workflow is sending a statement or sending something to the front desk where everybody has that visibility. When the patient comes in, you need to pay this money. I've
Yeah,
seen where
I would think the system would have a feature for that
all
and pop up when they check in and say, hey, this person owes this much.
you got to feed the duck. Got to feed it, right? Like I said, if the biller is just going to do transactional, they didn't get paid, and oh well, and not go back in the system and correctly input the information to show that it's the patient responsibility and why, then it goes
So
unseen. If you
it
can't
sounds like
see it,
they're happy to send out bills, but then they just leave it open. If they get paid, they get paid. If they don't get paid, they don't get paid. That doesn't sound like a good way to run a business. But
what
do you do
well,
this only for medical or do you do it for other? Because there are other businesses that have
I do it
issues
for
with.
all business. I do it for all businesses.
Okay, cool. Well, don't forget to put your info in the chat. I'm not sure if I saw it there before, so take care of that. And
Okay.
now John has been waiting patiently for his chance to go. So thank you, John.
Thank you.
John, who do we contact if we need help getting money from a customer into our bank accounts with credit cards?
That's what I do. If you want your customers to pay you by credit card, I have a solution for any way you want to get paid. I do it in all 50 states. And my commercial today is I've been doing it 23 years now. LinkedIn reminded me either yesterday or the day before I celebrated my 23-year anniversary. So if you want someone that has the experience, the relationships, all the different knowledge, the data sets, as opposed to someone that just started doing it last Tuesday. And it's funny, in my chamber of commerce, there's a guy that I know, and he's been in the chamber probably 2 years. And I just got a chamber email, email blast. He now does merchant services. So I'm going to be nice to him. And I think he's silly because he didn't come to me and say, "Hey, John, can I pick your brain? Obviously, you know what you're doing. What should I look out for?" He didn't even do that. But I can't imagine 2, 3 months from now, he won't be doing something different. So that's the choice when you're in this industry or you're dealing with someone. Do you want to deal with the guy that's been doing it for years and has a reputation and long-standing relationships? Or do you want to deal with someone that, next week will be selling something different?
That's a good point. That's something that I look for when I look for companies to work with. I look for longevity. And I often, if I don't know them, I'll ask, how long have you been doing it? If they've only been doing it for a year or two, that makes a difference over someone like yourself. What are you doing,
Sure.
like 20, 30 years, John? I know it's a long
23.
time. See, look at that. That says a lot. Anybody that can stick with one topic like you can for that long, or like I can, that says a lot about us. And that's what people
And
look for. They don't want to have to keep changing companies. They
and it's
want
also
you
the
to be
same
around.
company. I started with a company called American Credit Card Processing in 2003. In 2015, 2016, they got bought by Priority Payment Systems. So as far as I'm concerned, I haven't moved. They just changed the name of the building around me.
Cool. Well, everyone, keep John's info. You might not need John today or tomorrow, but you might need him later. And what do I mean by that? John and I have an appointment today after this meeting. And I thought it would be fun and we would chat and I would go over rates because I think that the gateway that I'm using is overcharging me. But just yesterday, I got a registered letter from my bank saying that we have sold to another bank and you have to contact us within 10 days or else we're going to cancel all of your services and we need to upgrade you to the new system. Now, I don't know anything about this company that's buying them. I never heard of them, and I don't like the idea of companies that I work with being bought out like that. So it just so happens that John and I we picked the perfect time to have a meeting because I just got that letter yesterday afternoon and I said, "Thank goodness I'm meeting with John tomorrow. He can tell me what I need to do." And now
Sometimes when
might
you
be the
talk to the
perfect time,
universe, it listens.
right? Who could have predicted that, you know? And now, if I'm going to have to switch to whatever bank bought my bank, why not switch to John? That's how I look at it. All right. Thanks again, John. Uh, Juanita, I see you have your hand up. So what's happening? What's the
Hey, I had a
question?
question for John. So do you only do merchant sales and services? Sorry.
What do you mean only?
Um, so I guess I'm figuring I'm trying to understand. So I had a merchant service and I never used it because I kept getting paid by Zelle or cash flow. I mean, everybody's paying with something different. Um, how do you how is that impacting what you do and how do you
To
continue
be honest with you, the person taking Zelle, Venmo, Cash App really isn't my competition, if you will. It's not my client demographic. If you're selling on the green market a couple of times a month and you're doing a couple of transactions a day, sure, you can do Venmo, Zelle. But if you're doing any kind of volume and you want to present yourself as being a level of professionalism, imagine you go to an attorney and you got a real complex case. Maybe it's a criminal attorney. Your family member is in prison and jail, and he goes, "I'm the best attorney there is. Okay, how do I pay you? All right, Zell me." Would you lose a little confidence right there on his ability? I would. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so
And
so if you
most of
want
the
if
time,
you want to really have the professionalism and you want to do volume, when I say volume, I mean number of transactions. If you're doing high volume business, lots of transactions a day, you can't sit around waiting for someone to log into their Zelle, find you, friend you, send you the money. You then have to stand there and wait to get the notification because you don't want to just trust them on their word that, yeah, I sent it, Juanita, it's in the mail, and they're out the door. And 2 hours later, your phone hasn't buzzed with the payment. Now what do? You know what I mean? So you got to
yeah.
stand there and look at them, and you got to stare at each other uncomfortably until that payment goes through. Not a way you can do a high volume business.
Yeah, fortunate for me, I mean, I get paid the same way they pay their the rest of their employees. I get on their payroll, but I was kind of like you, like, is this how you pay your the people that work, your employees? Like, it's weird. I don't sell a service, I get paid from them. I give them an invoice and they send me the money, but it's just weird that to your point, so many people are doing business with like I said, the Zelle, the cash flow, Vimo, all that
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, whoa. To your point, that's why I had a merchant service, but like I said, I had it for 2 years, never used it because everybody kept paying me different ways. And typically I get paid after my
I mean,
service.
you do have more and more people that want to pay by credit card. They want the points. I spend enough money on my credit cards, that I build up a serious amount of points where I could take a vacation. My wife's always saying to me, "Don't we have enough points yet? Can't we go fly somewhere on points?"
Yeah.
So
But good,
you don't
good to
get
know.
you don't get that with Zelle or Venmo.
That's right. Good to know. So thanks for I just was wondering how you're handling some of that stuff, but good to
Sure.
know. Thank you so much for answering.
This is funny, John, because I was just thinking about this. I take a lot of those payments too, Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, whatever people want to use, PayPal, which I've taken forever. But um, it's funny because my billing system doesn't know anything about any of them. It just knows about the four major credit cards and check. It was written before the time when we've had so
Right,
many of
right.
these
You
different
get that
payment
deer in
methods.
headlight look from your billing system.
Yeah, well, I just put them in as check and I put PP for PayPal or VM for Venmo, so
Right.
I have an abbreviation for it. But it's funny how you have to work around because these companies aren't catching up with the times. So here's something interesting. Thank you, John. That was terrific. And thank you, Anita, for asking questions. Um, I am recording this meeting, as you all know, and I have an offer to make for everybody if you're interested. I can take this video and chop it up into clips and send you your clip. So, for example, Hazel is about to go next. If Hazel wants, she can contact me either in the chat or later on and say, Jay, can you send me a clip of what I talked about today? And then you can take that clip, or if I send you a link, you can take that link and put that on your website, put it in your email, and now you have a video of yourself talking about what you do. And you can also critique yourself that way and see how you appear to others and how you come across. So if anyone's interested in that, just let me know and I'll be glad to do that for you. And with that, let's introduce Hazel. Hazel, we only have a half an hour, so you're going to have to keep it to 30 minutes. Do you think you can? I'm just busting Hazel's chops because she's so excited about what she does that it's hard for her to contain it. So, Hazel, tell us about this juice stuff, this Juice Plus, which I think is hysterical because Juice Plus doesn't sell juice.
That's right.
What do they sell?
Well, you can get it in juice. You can get it juice-wise, but it's originally it was put into capsule form. I've been trying ever since 9 o'clock to get on this call and just now got on.
Oh, congratulations.
My computer was not cooperating. But I represent the company called Juice Plus, which started in 1993. And it's the most scientifically studied nutritional product in the world. And what they do is they go to the orchards to get fruit, and the gardens to get the greens, and the vineyards to get the berries and grapes. And they juice it on the spot. They process it so that you can get it in liquid form. Now you can get it in liquid form it comes in a pouch. You just open it up in water, stir it up. You don't have to have a shaker bottle. You just stir it and drink it, and you get more than 30 fruits and vegetables in your body every day. So they have it in capsule form and in chewable form. So any way you want it, you want to chew it, you want to swallow it, or you want to drink it, any of those ways. And it is the most scientifically studied, as I said, a nutritional product in the whole world. And you can ask your phone. If you don't believe it, ask your phone and Siri or whoever you have, what is the most scientifically studied nutritional product in the world? And they will say Juice Plus. And the National Institute of Health has asked if they could use our berry blend to study Alzheimer's. That's pretty much very much of an endorsement to have the National Institute of Health ask us if they could use our product. Also, the Olympic Training Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, will not allow their athletes to have any other supplement but Juice Plus. That's all they would allow them to have. And if an adult orders, you can sponsor a child from the age 4 until they turn 26 years old, which is when the government decides they're an adult, and they get it free. So it doesn't have to be your child. It could be any child. It's the only problem. The only catch is that it comes to you and you need to get it to them. But they can get it free all those years. So I'm 96 years old. I take no medication. Everything works. And I've decided I would rather eat my vegetables than to become one.
Very good. Thank you, Hazel. Don, I got your message in the chat. I will send you a clip. And just to remind everyone, these meetings are recorded and I post the recordings on my website. So if you go to totalspeed.com and click Tech Fridays, at the bottom, I have the archives of the previous meetings. So if there's a meeting that you missed and you want to see it, or if you just want to get to the important parts, you can do that. They're all on my website. Just go to totalspeed.com and click Tech Fridays. And this meeting will be there too once Zoom processes it. It
Okay,
takes them a
and I
little
forgot
while.
to mention my book. I forgot that part.
Oh, yes. Hazel, if you were to write a book, what would you call it?
88 keys, because I was 88 at the time, and it was 2018, and there are 88 keys on the piano. I taught piano for 75 years. So the only reason I quit teaching is because I decided I just didn't have time to teach anymore. I'd rather spend the rest of my life helping people be healthy. And so that's the reason that I quit teaching. But
Hey,
now,
Hazel, I've got a question for you. Have any of your students over the 75 years that you taught piano become piano teachers?
oh, many, many, many. Yes. And one of my students is now head of in Purdue, he's head of the music, the whole music department, the whole art department at Purdue. So I've had lots of successful students. And then I read it on Audible with my voice when I was 90. So it's available on Amazon, Audible, or you get it from me. It's $20 and I'll autograph it for you. Thank you for letting me show that.
Thank you, Hazel. Thank you very much. We're all very impressed and motivated by you and by your successes and your activities. I find you very motivating. You incentivize me, so thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for allowing me to speak.
All right, and let me do my 30 seconds and then I'll move on to the topic.
Look like he froze again.
Well, that must be his topic then.
That
Uh,
was a good.
He better get himself as a
oh, it's
client.
weird. It's turning off my video. I wonder if this is not the connection and it has something to do with the new camera that I just bought. I just got a new webcam and the quality is really good, but I wonder if that's causing these freezes. I don't know.
You better call
Okay, well,
Total
anyway,
Speed. You better call Total Speed and see if he can fix it.
now that's a good point, George. That's something we do not do. And it's funny because I did a lookup on Gemini, that's Google's AI system, and I looked up my company to see what Gemini would say. And it was very interesting because it actually did a very nice review of my company. And it said that we do web services like website hosting and email addresses and domain name registrations, but it pointed out specifically that we don't do internet access. And it said, despite the name having speed in it, they don't do internet access, meaning, connections like Xfinity and that sort of thing, which is true. We don't do that. But I thought it was interesting that Gemini pointed that out, that they don't do that, even though it sounds like it from their name. And Gemini has a point because the company Total Speed that I bought called themselves Total Speed because they started in the days of dial-up when speed was important because dial-up was insufferably slow no matter what you did. So I thought that was interesting. But Gemini wrote a nice report, a nice summary of what my company does. You might be interested. Go to your AI and do a search for your company name, see what it comes up with, because you want to see what other people will see. And last Friday, we had Cheryl Lee do her presentation, and her presentation was focused on that people don't use search engines anymore. They use AI to do their searches. And that's why I thought it'd be fun to do a search through AI of my company to see what it would find. So you might want to do that for your companies. And if it writes up a good review of you, copy and paste, save that, use that for your promotions and things. So there's a little tip for you. So my company does essentially what companies like GoDaddy do. So if you're familiar with GoDaddy, many people use them. Except the difference is that my company focuses on support, but not just waiting until you have a question. I get customers sometimes they call me and they say, Jay, I'm having trouble with this and I've been trying to figure it out for 3 weeks and I'm losing all this money. And I say, why don't you just call me when it happened? Why wait 3 weeks and try to suffer with it when you have someone right here ready to help? So that's what I focus on. I try to be proactive and anticipate what people are going to need because I found, especially in computers and internet, that it's difficult to ask a question or to ask about something if you don't know there is such a thing. How are you going to ask about a service that you don't know if anyone has ever invented it or not? So I try to offer things to people that they might not have heard of. Hey, did you know that this company offers this or that that company has a free program that does this? One of the things I show people how to do is how to get off of Windows because a lot of people now are getting very concerned about what Microsoft's been doing lately. They've been putting ads in Windows. They've been putting all kinds of pop-ups, like even when you go to your file manager or your start menu, you get pop-up ads. They require updates all the time. A lot of times when you don't want them to update, you're in the middle of helping a customer. All of a sudden, your computer needs to reboot for 3 hours. Juanita's nodding her head, so I know I'm touching base there. So I show people how to use operating systems like Linux, which are completely free, very stable, very private, and they don't throw ads at you or any of that kind of nonsense. The biggest thing that Microsoft did, I don't know if you guys know this, but Microsoft discontinued support for Windows 10, and millions of people are still using Windows 10. So Microsoft said, no more Windows 10, you have to upgrade to Windows 11. That doesn't sound so bad, right? They're just saying keep up. But they made a requirement for Windows 11 that caused a lot of computers not to be compatible with it. So now these people not only have to upgrade, but they have to buy a whole new computer when their other computer's been working fine. Nobody wants to be told you need a brand new car because your car that you love that's 2 years old, we don't want to support it anymore. You need a new car. That's just not what people want to hear. So anyway, these are the kind of things I like to do. And an example of that is I offer a service which I call video support. I've never seen any other company offer this. And if you find a company that does, please tell me, because I would love to know about another company that would do this. But what I do is if you go to booktotalspeed.com, you can set up an appointment with me. I have a lot of availability. If you're a customer, I can show you how to use whatever service it is you're interested in. I can show you how to use our website builder. I can show you how to use our email marketing program. And we do a half an hour walkthrough. I show you all the important features. And that way you don't have to start from scratch. Nowadays, people, I think business owners don't really like to have to figure everything out themselves. They like to have their hands held. And that's where I come in. So I will show you how to do things. If you're, say, for example, you're using your email, but you're getting a little too much spam, I'll show you how to create a filter to block senders that you don't like. Let's say you want to promote your business by having additional addresses like sales at your company or info at your company or support at your company. I show you how to do that for free. So I love showing people how to do things to help their lives, to help their businesses, and especially when they don't cost anything or when they're very inexpensive. That's my forte. I love showing people how to use software. For example, with programs like Microsoft Office, you can't buy that anymore. You have to rent it from Microsoft every month. Juanita's shaking her, nodding her head because she knows.
I
But there are
hate that.
programs, everybody does. Nobody likes that. Exactly. People want to buy something and own it. They don't want to pay
Remember
for
back
it
in the
forever.
day when you bought your computer, it came with your computer?
It still does. It still does. If you use Linux, Linux comes with an Office program called LibreOffice for free. No ads, no restrictions, no subscriptions, no nagging, just works. So these are the kind of things I like. I think they're great for business. And I think a lot of people don't know how to find these things. They need someone like me to help them. So I don't just offer internet services. I stand behind it. I show you how to make the most of it. I'm available to help you when you need it. And most importantly, I show you how to make the most of it by giving lessons for free. So totalspeed.co, and now you know. I change it every time. All right. So let me get started with my presentation because we're running low on time. And if anyone has any questions, by all means, interrupt me and ask them. I think that's really important. And here's another side note before I start. When Cheryl did her talk 2 weeks ago, and she's very big on AI, that's what she does, right? After she did her talk, she had AI analyze her talk to tell her what she did right and what she did wrong. And AI said that her talk was not good enough to publish. They said, don't publish this. It's not good enough. And then they gave all the reasons. And the main reason that they gave that they didn't like her presentation, and by they, I mean an artificial computer, not a person, was that people would ask her questions during her talk, and then she would respond to those questions. And I was one of those people. So AI said, your talk was no good because you didn't stay on topic. People asked you questions and you went off topic. So your talk was a failure. Don't post it. Now, what I said to Cheryl when she said, don't post it, AI said we shouldn't post it. I said, AI doesn't know that I encourage people to ask questions. I think presentations are a lot more fun when people interject. And often, whatever they ask, everyone else is thinking at the same moment and just didn't ask it. Right. So I told her, I think your talk was fantastic. You covered a lot of great topics. You answered all the questions that the people had. What could be better than that? But not according to AI. So don't take AI 100%. Take it with a grain of salt. It doesn't look at things the same way we do. And sometimes it makes big mistakes. I once took a picture and I said, put a mobile phone in my hand on the picture, and it did. But it gave me a third hand. I had three hands. It didn't put the phone in one of my existing hands. It gave me an extra arm with a hand with a phone in it. So I was like, are you serious? Do you know any people with 3 arms? This is crazy. So don't take AI 100%. It's not 100% reliable. All right. And if you have questions about AI, I'm happy to help you with that too. And we don't use AI for support. When you call my company, you're talking to a person, but we do use AI in our services. For example, our website builder. When you add a page to your website, it knows what you do. It analyzes your site and it creates the page for you and it writes up a whole write-up about what you do. You don't have to use it, you can write it yourself, but that's pretty cool. And our email has AI built into it. So if you don't want to read your email, you can either have your email read to you, it can do that, but it can also summarize your email. And when you write an email, it can proofread your email. And all of this is included. It's all part of what we do. So it's kind of cool. And if you're not familiar with it, you should be, because we all know that's where a lot of services and systems are headed. Okay, so let's talk about to-do programs. I get the impression that people here haven't used them. Is that true? You haven't used Google Tasks, Microsoft To-Dos? Everybody's okay. Now, these programs are billed or promoted as task managers. In other words, say you have a shopping list, you want to buy groceries and you want to make a list of all the product, all the food you want to buy. So you take a program like any of these and you make a list, and then they have a record of what you want to buy, and you can check off the items, they move them to the bottom, and then when you need them again, you uncheck them. It makes it very easy because for things like shopping, we tend to buy the same things pretty much over and over. So it's very easy to just have a checklist. You just check it off when you buy it. I do that when I go on trips. I travel a lot. Rather than trying to figure out what I forgot to pack, I have a packing list and I just check off everything: phone, watch, rechargeable batteries, whatever, food. I check it all off. And then when I leave, I never have to worry that I forgot anything. So if you're the kind of person that makes lists in your head, or you're always thinking of what you need to get done today, and you keep on telling yourself over and over, these programs are great for that. But not just lists of to-dos. I find that they're very powerful for note taking. So, for example, let's say you're a member of a B2B group like One Business Connection. Anybody here familiar with that? Now, you meet people at the meeting and you have their write-up, their information in the chat. What do you do with it? Well, if you're into databases or spreadsheets or different things like that, if you have a CRM, they're made for those kind of things. But I think that there are a lot of people that don't have CRMs managing their businesses, and they don't really have a convenient method to track all of these things, projects that you're working on, notes. For example, when I meet people at these meetings, I copy their info into, I like to use Google Tasks for that purpose. But then I make notes afterwards. Like Juanita's looking for medical professionals that maybe smaller companies that don't seem to have their billing together. That's what Juanita's looking for. I'll write that down in your notes. Now, as an example of how these programs work, Google Tasks is a free program from Google. If you have a Google account, if you have a Gmail address, you're ready to go. You don't have to sign up or do anything. Now, the thing about Google Tasks, it's a really good task management program, but all it lets you do is give it a task, a name, and a description. And I think you can also set a reminder. That's it. You can't use fonts, colors, you can't put pictures in it. So it's text-based, but it's very quick and it's very easy. The thing about Google Tasks is that if you go to Google's website, which is tasks.google.com, it's very basic. The program is basic and Google's website is very basic. What's nice about it is if you do use Google, if you use Gmail, I know Hazel uses Gmail, Google Tasks is integrated into Gmail. So you just tap the button and it'll show you your tasks next to your mail. Or if you use Google Calendar, it'll show you your Google Tasks right next to your calendar, which is very nice. Microsoft does the same thing. Microsoft has a program called To-Dos, and it integrates with your calendar. And in Microsoft's case, it also completely integrates with your mail. With Google, all it does is show it on the side. With Microsoft, when you mark a message as flagged, it puts it into your to-dos. And the Microsoft To-Dos has a lot more features than the Google Tasks. You can use colors and fonts. You can insert attachments. And it has a really cool feature called Today, I think it's called. And what that does is any things you need to do that you mark with a star, you just check it. It puts it into a special list called Today. And when today ends, it clears the list. So it keeps you on top of your to-dos because it's going to clear that list if you don't. And then the next day you have to start it over again. So if you're the kind of person that likes to make lists of to-dos and tasks that you need to get done, Microsoft To-Dos is a great program. If you don't have a Microsoft address, you can sign up for one and then it's free. If you do have a Microsoft 365 email address, like my company offers, it's built right into the email. One of the advantages of Google Tasks is that Google makes their tasks in such a way that other people can write programs for it. So if you do decide that you like Google Tasks, there are some really good programs that you can use with it rather than using the Google website. So for example, there's a really good program called 30 Calendar, and it integrates your calendar and your tasks all on one screen. And you can have multiple calendars, like if you have a work calendar and a personal calendar or things like that. If you're going to use Google Tasks, I highly recommend using third-party programs like Calendar or 30 Business Calendar is the one that I like. And I can give you links to all of that if you want to go that way. Now, there's another category of these programs. And what I'm talking about here are Google Keep and Microsoft OneNote. Google Keep and Microsoft OneNote also let you make text notes. They also let you make lists with checkboxes. And Microsoft To-Dos also lets you go down a third level. You can have steps within a task. That's very cool. Like if the task is paint the porch, you can put steps, buy the paint, buy the brushes, etc., and break it down into components, which can be very helpful. But Google Keep and Microsoft OneNote, in addition to that, also let you do other things like they let you draw. You can actually draw. If you have a computer that has a touch screen, or if you're using an iPad or an iPhone or an Android phone or an Android tablet or a Microsoft Windows screen with a touch, you can draw right in the program. Now, drawing, you're probably thinking, well, I'm not an artist. I don't need to draw. No, drawing is really great for taking notes when you don't want to be bothered with tapping or voice or a keyboard, because you can just write your notes by hand. Great for students that are at a lecture. Great for people that are at a meeting and they want to jot down notes about things. Great for people like George who like to take their notes on paper. Now you can basically do the same thing, but right on the screen. And when it's on the screen, you can erase it, you can move things around, you can resize. They give you all kinds of great tools. So
This seems
if
like
you're
what
interested in that,
Microsoft Outlook used to have as their tasks. Remember Microsoft
yeah, well,
Outlook had
Microsoft,
tasks?
that's the to-dos. Yes, that's what I was talking about when I called it Microsoft To-Dos. If you use the Outlook desktop, they call it tasks, but it's the same thing. Yeah, and it's very powerful. If you've used it, you know what I'm talking about. Now, here's an example of how you can use the drawing in a different way than you would think. I go to meetings. Hazel, I know you go to Greg's meetings, the live meetings sometimes, okay? Now, when you're at a meeting, or say you're at a wedding reception, okay? You're at a table and there's people around and you're meeting them. Well, I don't know if you're like I am, but I'm not the greatest at remembering names. That's why I like the Zoom meetings, because our names are right under us, so I can't forget. But right, John's giving me the thumbs up. So you go to a meeting. Let's say you use Meetup and you go to a dinner and there's 10 people and you can't remember all 10 of their names. Well, what I do is I go into Google Keep.
Bluetooth connected.
Up, I think did it freeze me out again or not? Okay. And so you can hear me? Everyone hears me? Okay, good. What I do is I use the drawing feature and I write down the people's names where they are. So I'll put, Ruth and Bill, and on this side of the table is Sally, and here's George, and then I can look at the names and not only remember the names, but remember where they are. Kind of like a teacher that has a student plan, and they have a thing where all the students are. They can't
I used to
remember
do the
30
same thing with
students.
business cards. And when you sat around a table, Jay's business card sent over there, his business card goes here, and everyone kind of almost like a bar POS system where people put the names where you're sitting at the bar.
But that's a great point, John. I'm glad you brought that up because both Microsoft OneNote and Google Keep also let you take pictures. So in George's case, he can take a picture of his handwritten to-do list. Or in your case, John, if you have business cards from a meeting, you can snap each one of the business cards and they'll all show up in your Google Keep. And then you can drag them around and put them where you want. You can delete them and you can put them in folders. So you can have a folder called Health and Wealth Expo. And then in that folder, you've got 30 business cards. Now you don't need to keep the business cards anymore. And you can even search for graphics. That's something that Google is very cool about. If you have a business card and it says priority payment systems, you can do a search for priority and it'll find John's card. Pretty cool. So that's the drawing feature. Now, Google Keep has another feature that I really like, which is a voice recorder. So you can tap record and you can dictate into it. Now, you're probably saying, big deal, every program does that. All I have to do is tap on the microphone on the keyboard and I can record. Yes, but here's something Google Keep does that no other program does. It records your voice, it saves it so you can click play and play it back. Right away, that's no other program does that because they just record it and convert it into text. With Google Keep, you can tap play and listen to your voice back, and it transcribes it. So you can dictate into it. It will record your voice. You can hit play and play back your voice, but at the same time, you can see the text of what you've said. And because you ever have it happen where you use a phone and you dictate into it, then after you're done dictating, you read over what you wrote. We all do this, right? And then you realize it didn't get some of the words you said, but you don't remember what you said. All you're looking at is the transcription and it isn't correct. And you say, what did I say there? I don't remember what I said. No more problem with Google Keep. Just tap play. It'll play your recording and then you'll remember what you said because you're hearing it. And then you can correct the transcription. So there are obviously differences between all four. They all have pros and cons. If you're interested in these kind of programs, I suggest you try them out because everybody has preferences and different features that they're looking for. And if you have any questions about any of these programs, feel free to contact me. If you'd like to do a one-on-one with me, I'd be happy to walk you through them and show you how to use them. And again, I don't make any money off any of this. These are just programs I found that I think can be very helpful for people in their businesses, and they're all free. So if you try them and you don't like them, get your money back. And that's my presentation. Also, when I put these recordings, thank you, John, on my website, I put when the speaker starts. So you don't actually have to watch the whole recording. You can just jump to the part where the speaker starts. I try to make it easy for people that way. All right. Thank you all for coming. I hope that this was a beneficial meeting for you all. I hope you learned some things, and I hope that it enhances your business and your lives. And tell all your friends, Tech Fridays, every Friday at 9 Mountain Time. And hopefully we'll have more and more people, and this will become that much more helpful for everyone. And thank Greg, who's not here, because he's the one that's sponsoring this event. And Juanita gave me a clapping hands. Thank you, Juanita. Hey, I'll give you a tip. I've done this tip before, but I had a customer just the other day contact me and said, Jay, my printer is jamming and I don't know how to fix it. And do you know anything about printers? I said, I gave up on printers decades ago. Here's my tip for printing. If you need to print something, take the file of whatever you want to print. Could be a picture, it could be a PDF, whatever it is, a Word file, and email it to printandgo@fedex.com. I'll give that to you again. Print and go, A-N-D, printandgo@fedex.com. You email your attachment to that address. A minute later, you'll get a text back with a or an email back with a code. Take that code to any FedEx office and they will print out your documents. Best part of it is they charge 10 cents a page. Now, if you think of how much it costs to buy a printer, to take up half your desk, to collect dust, to buy toner for it, and then the toner dries up and it doesn't work and you have to buy toner again, and then you put paper in it and it jams. All of that is ancient history. Just email your attachment to FedEx, and then you can go to any FedEx anywhere in the world. And what else is cool about that is now you have a printer anywhere you are. Nobody carries printers with them. They might carry a laptop, but who carries a printer on a trip? Now you have a printer. So that's my tip of the day. Print and go at FedEx. And they don't pay me. I just think it's a worthwhile thing. And nowadays, most people don't print much anymore.
So
You
real
don't need
quick,
to print boarding passes anymore. You know, you don't need to print your taxes. You file them electronically. Who wants to waste all that money on a printer?
real quick.
Yeah, Juanita.
Just so you can add when you give people a tip, like Office Max and Office Depot, they're the same company. They charge 70 cents, 70 cents a page.
Well, is that for black and white or is that for color?
It's for color. Black and
Okay.
white is 18. Color black and white is 18 cents.
Okay, because FedEx charges more for color too. I'm not sure what they charge, but I know for black and white, it's only 10 cents. And the last time I went there, I was printing out a packing slip to return a product. And the guy saw that it was a packing slip and he goes, "Are you printing out a packing slip?" I said, "Yeah, I have to return something." He says, "Oh, we don't even charge for those. It's free." I didn't even have to pay the 10 cents. Nowadays, you never see things like that. You know, oh, it's free. Don't pay us. That's unheard of.
UPS charges for a packing slip to print it.
Yes, they do. They do. What is it, like $1, I think,
Something
for
like
a
that,
packing
yeah.
slip? Yeah, yeah. So now just go to FedEx. They'll do it for you for free. All right, everyone. Thanks again for coming. Have a fantastic weekend. If you happen to be in Boulder today, come to the Riviera at noon because Greg is going to be doing a meeting there, and those are fun. And if not, I will see you all on Monday at the 10 a.m. meeting that Greg puts on because those are a lot of fun. All right. Thanks again. And I will save the chat and I will send off your clip, Don.
Are we
Oh,
going to stay on or jump on a different
yeah,
Zoom or?
we can stay on. Might
Yeah, I
as well.
think that'd be easier.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just stop the recording.